Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing I've learned in all my years of studying success, it's that your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And not just any change, but intentional change. Today, I want to give you one habit, just one, that can 10x your results in business, in relationships, in personal growth, instantly. It's not complicated. It won't cost you a dime, but it will cost you discipline. That habit is the daily practice of reflection and journaling. Now you might say, Jim, writing in a journal, that sounds too simple. And I'll tell you, simplicity is the secret. Most people are so busy making a living that they forget to design a life. But when you sit down, even for just 10 minutes a day, and reflect on what you did, what you learned, what worked and what didn't, you gain what the average person never stops to gather: perspective. Reflection turns your day into a masterclass. Your journal becomes a record of your progress, a map of your journey, a mirror to your mindset. You don't need more time. You don't need more talent. You need more clarity, because clarity breeds confidence, and confidence leads to action. I started keeping a journal when I was broke. No money, no direction. But I began to write. I wrote what I learned. I wrote what I observed. And do you know what happened? My mind got sharper. My focus got stronger. My vision got clearer. I started making better decisions, not by chance, but by design. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. It is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. So tonight, I challenge you. Start the habit. Sit down. Write it down. Don't just live the day. Harvest it. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What did I improve today? Where did I miss the mark? And what can I change tomorrow? Do this every day. And I promise you, in 30 days, you won't recognize your own mindset. In 90 days, you won't recognize your results. In a year, others will ask you, what changed? And you'll say, It starts with one small, consistent habit. Reflect daily. Write it down. 10x your results. Success, my friends, isn't found in the hustle alone. It's not just in doing more, pushing harder, or waking up earlier than the next person. Those things are valuable, but there's something even more powerful, more refined, that separates the average from the extraordinary. That something is reflection, daily reflection. A habit so simple, so quiet, and yet so transformative. It can shift the entire trajectory of your life. Most people go through their day, and when the sun sets, that day is done, gone, buried in the past with no trace, no lesson, no value extracted. But the successful ones, the ones who rise, grow, and lead, do something different. They stop at the end of the day and ask themselves, what did I do today? What did I learn? What could I have done better? That's reflection. That's the habit that multiplies results. You see, life is a teacher. Every single day brings with it a classroom full of lessons. The question is, are you paying attention? Are you taking notes? Most aren't. They repeat the same errors, relive the same frustrations, and recycle the same missed opportunities. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack awareness, and awareness only comes through reflection. Now, I've often said, don't just live the day, get from the day. Experience alone is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. Reflection is the discipline of evaluation. It is the bridge between activity and improvement. It's where we take raw experience, good, bad, or neutral, and turn it into something useful, something instructive, something powerful. When you reflect daily, you start noticing patterns. You begin to understand how you react under pressure, where you tend to procrastinate, what makes you come alive, and what drains your energy. You identify the habits that are helping you, and the ones that are holding you back. You get to know yourself, not in a shallow way, but in a deep, precise way that allows you to make real change. Reflection creates what I call course correction. A small steering of the wheel each day keeps you from drifting way off course. Imagine being on a plane that's 1 degree off its path. You won't notice it in the first 10 minutes, but after 3 hours, you'll land in the wrong city. That's what happens to most people's goals. They drift. Why? No correction, no check-in. no reflection. You fix that one thing, and everything else starts to align. But here's the beautiful part. Reflection doesn't take hours. It's not about writing essays or building spreadsheets, unless you want to. It's about setting aside 10 minutes, just 10, to review the day. You could ask yourself 3 simple questions. What went well today? What didn't go so well? What will I do differently tomorrow? Those 3 questions, consistently answered, can bring more growth in 30 days than most people see in a year. And let me tell you something else. Reflection brings peace. In a noisy, chaotic world, full of inputs and distractions, reflection is how you listen to your own life. It quiets the noise, centers the soul, and reminds you of what matters. It gives your life rhythm, structure, purpose. Without it, you're just reacting. With it, you're responding with thought, with clarity, with direction. I've seen people double their income, transform their health, and restore broken relationships, all by adopting this one habit. Why? Because reflection leads to clarity, and clarity leads to better choices. Better choices lead to better outcomes, and that, my friends, is the essence of progress. So if you want to 10x your results, if you want to grow faster, live deeper, and move with power, don't look for some secret formula. Look inward, start reflecting, make it a habit, make it a ritual. Don't let a single day pass without asking yourself what it taught you. Because in the end, it's not just the days you live that shape your life. It's the wisdom you take from them. And that wisdom, that's the foundation of greatness. Start today, reflect daily, and watch your results take flight. If there's one principle that has consistently separated top achievers from the rest, it's this. What gets measured, gets improved. It sounds simple, and it is. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This is one of the most powerful habits you can develop if you want to accelerate your success and gain mastery over your time, energy, goals, and results. The act of tracking your progress brings a level of awareness, accountability, and clarity that few people ever truly experience. Most people have dreams, many have goals, some even take action, but very few actually track what they're doing, how often they're doing it, and what the outcomes are. And that's the problem. You can't improve what you're not even aware of. Without tracking, you're guessing, you're throwing effort at your goals without any real way to know if what you're doing is working or just wasting your time. Now let me tell you, success is not an accident. It's a system, and tracking your progress is how you build that system. Whether you want to lose weight, grow a business, save money, learn a new skill, or become more productive, it all starts with paying attention to what you're actually doing on a daily basis. That's where the change begins. Let's take a simple example. Say you're trying to get in shape. You tell yourself, I'm going to eat better and work out more. That's a good intention. But how do you know if you're making progress? If you're not writing down your workouts, tracking what you're eating, monitoring your energy levels, or noting your weight or body fat, then you're relying on memory and guesswork. And memory is not a reliable coach. Memory fades. Emotion distorts. Only numbers tell the truth. Tracking removes the emotion from evaluation. You're not judging yourself based on how you feel. You're evaluating yourself based on what you did. And once you see the data, you can make better decisions. You can adjust. You can optimize. And that's how you start building momentum. Now, some people resist tracking because they think it takes too much time. But here's what I always say. You're already spending the time. The question is, are you getting the return? It takes just 5 minutes a day to write down what you did. 5 minutes to record your habits, your efforts, your results. And in exchange, you get a clear picture of your progress, your trends, and your patterns. That 5 minutes a day could save you weeks, even years of wasted effort. When I first started in business, my mentor asked me to carry a little notebook. In that notebook, I tracked every sale I made, every phone call, every presentation, every expense. I didn't understand it at first. I thought it was just busy work. But a few months in, I began to see the pattern. I could see what days I was most productive. I could see what type of prospects responded best to my offer. I could see when I was slacking and when I was surging. That notebook became my roadmap. It helped me make better choices, and those better choices led to better results. Tracking your progress is also a powerful motivator. When you see progress, even small wins, you get encouraged. You feel a sense of momentum. It builds your confidence. It fuels your consistency. And consistency, my friends, is the compound interest of success. It's not about making one big leap. It's about stacking small wins, day after day. Tracking helps you see those wins. Without it, they get lost in the noise. Now I know what some people think. What if I don't like what I see? That's the point. If the results are disappointing, if the numbers are off, then that's your wake-up call. That's the signal that it's time to change something. Don't fear the data. Embrace it. Because once you know where you stand, you have the power to move forward with purpose. Remember, champions keep score. Professionals track their metrics. Anyone serious about growth understands the value of data. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. One step at a time, one habit at a time, one decision at a time. So if you want to 10x your results, don't just work harder, work smarter. Start tracking. Track your time, track your habits, track your effort, track your outcomes. Turn your life into a laboratory. Become a student of your own progress. When you do that, you'll stop guessing and start growing. And once you've made tracking a habit, you'll never go back, because you'll realize it wasn't the effort that changed your life. It was the awareness. And that awareness began the day you started keeping score. There's something almost magical that happens when you take a thought out of your head and put it on paper. It becomes real. It takes form. It becomes something you can work with, examine, and return to. One of the most overlooked, yet profoundly powerful habits that can transform your life is the discipline of writing things down. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But simplicity is deceptive. What's simple to do is also simple not to do. And that's where most people miss the mark. You see, writing things down is not just a good idea. It's a discipline, a life-changing one. The average person hears a good idea, feels a surge of motivation, maybe even gets inspired for a few moments, but then it's gone. They move on to the next distraction. But the person who writes it down captures it. They preserve the wisdom. They hold on to the insight. They've created something tangible they can revisit, reflect on, and build from. Your mind, brilliant as it is, was not designed to be a storage system. It was designed to process, to create, to imagine, and to solve. But if you try to use your mind to store everything, your goals, your plans, your ideas, your lessons, you'll feel overwhelmed. Thoughts will come and go. Ideas will fade. And opportunities will be missed. That's why you write them down. Not just for memory's sake, but for clarity. I always say, a short pencil is better than a long memory. When you write things down, you're not just recording information. You're organizing your thinking. You're creating structure. And structure is what leads to focus. Focus leads to action. And action repeated with consistency leads to results. Let's take goals, for example. It's one thing to have a goal in your head, to say to yourself, I want to lose weight, or I want to earn more money. But when you write that goal down, everything changes. It becomes visible. It becomes specific. You can look at it. You can measure it. You can track your progress toward it. A simple act of putting it on paper signals to your brain and to your life that you are serious. And life, it seems, has a way of responding to seriousness. But writing isn't just for goals. It's for ideas, thoughts, reflections, plans, lessons, and even failures, especially failures. When you write about what went wrong, you begin to understand it. You gain insight, and that insight turns your mistake into a stepping stone. Most people carry their mistakes like baggage, but when you write about them, you extract the value and let go of the weight. Now, I'm not talking about writing novels or essays. I'm talking about grabbing a notebook and taking a few minutes each day to jot things down. A few lines about what you did today, what you learned, what you're planning, what you're grateful for, what made you feel alive, what made you feel stuck. That small practice turns your notebook into a treasure chest, one filled with wisdom, clarity, and strategy. Some of the most successful people I've ever met were not the most talented, the most connected, or the most educated, but they had notebooks and they wrote things down: business plans, ideas for improvement, market trends, daily numbers. They documented their lives, and in doing so, they shaped their futures. There's also something deeply personal and grounding about writing by hand. It slows you down. It makes you think. It pulls you into the present moment. In a world that moves fast, writing things down helps you pause. It centers you. It's like having a quiet conversation with yourself, a way of checking in, of taking stock, of staying honest. And let's not forget, writing things down gives you a record, a map, a timeline. You can look back and see how far you've come. You can see the journey, the growth, the struggle, the breakthrough moments. That reflection fuels gratitude. It builds confidence. It reminds you that you're moving forward, even when progress feels slow. So don't underestimate the power of this habit. Buy a journal, keep a notepad, open a digital document, if that's what works for you. But whatever you do, start writing things down. Your thoughts, your goals, your plans, your lessons, your commitment. It's not just about remembering. It's about creating a life of intention, structure, and progress. In the end, the discipline of writing things down is a daily investment in your future self. It's a way of saying, I'm paying attention. I'm taking responsibility. I'm building something that matters. And that, my friend, is the mindset that leads to greatness. There's a difference between going through the day and getting from the day. Most people live reactively. They wake up, they respond to demands, they deal with problems, and by the time the day ends, they're drained. But if you want to 10x your results, if you want to rise above the average, you must embrace the habit of intentional learning. Intentional learning means you don't just live the day, you learn from it. You don't just consume information, you extract wisdom. You don't wait for knowledge to come to you. You pursue it with purpose. This shift in how you approach learning can change everything. We live in a time when information is everywhere. Books, podcasts, videos, courses. There's no shortage of content. But here's the truth. Being surrounded by information is not the same as being educated. Learning isn't automatic. Growth isn't guaranteed. You have to be intentional about what you're learning, why you're learning it, and how you're applying it. Passive consumption leads to overload. Intentional learning leads to transformation. The people who grow the fastest and achieve the most are those who turn every experience into a lesson. They treat life like a classroom, wins and losses, successes and setbacks, conversations, challenges, feedback. They mine these moments for insights. They ask questions like, what did I learn today? What did this experience teach me? How can I use this to become better tomorrow? That's what intentional learners do. They take the raw material of life and turn it into growth. One of the most powerful ways to develop this habit is to start each day with a learning intention. Ask yourself, what do I want to get better at today? What skill can I sharpen? What question am I trying to answer? Then, as the day unfolds, stay alert. Pay attention to your experiences, your reactions, your results. Look for the lesson in the ordinary. That's the secret. Extraordinary learners see meaning in what others overlook. But learning is not just about reflection. It's also about exposure. You have to put yourself in front of ideas that challenge you. You have to read books that stretch your thinking. Listen to people who've walked paths you haven't. And ask questions that make you uncomfortable. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. Intentional learners live on the edge of their competence. They're constantly pushing reaching, exploring. And here's what sets them apart. They don't just gather knowledge. They organize it. They write it down. They review. They apply it. They treat learning like a craft. They treat ideas like seeds, planting them, nurturing them, and watching them grow into results. This habit of capturing and applying what you learn is where the real magic happens. Let me be clear. Intentional learning is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to understand everything at once. You just have to commit to getting a little better every day. One new insight, one small improvement, one clear understanding. Over time, those small gains compound. They build momentum, and before you know it, you're operating at a level most people never reach. Not because you're lucky, but because you're learning. I remember my mentor once told me, "Jim, don't let a day go by without learning something valuable." That advice stuck with me. I started to carry a note. I'd write down quotes, ideas, lessons, strategies. At the end of each week, I'd review it. What started as a simple habit turned into one of the most valuable practices of my life. It kept me sharp. It kept me focused. It kept me growing. The world is changing fast. The skills that got you here won't get you there. The market doesn't reward effort. It rewards value. And the way you increase your value is by learning, not randomly, not passively, but intentionally. So if you want to multiply your results, make intentional learning a daily discipline. Start each day with curiosity, end it with reflection. Learn from every source, every person, every mistake. Write down what you discover, apply what you understand, become a student of life. Every single day, because the person who learns with intention will always rise above the person who simply goes through the motions. And in a world full of people consuming content, be the one who turns knowledge into power. That's the kind of learner who succeeds. That's the kind of person who changes their life. If you want to dramatically improve your results, faster and with greater clarity, one of the most powerful habits you can develop is the act of planning your day. Before it begins, this simple discipline creates structure, increases focus, and puts you in control of your time, energy, and priorities. Most people wake up and fall into their day. They let the world dictate what happens. Emails, messages, distractions, they're pulled in every direction. But those who plan their day ahead of time, they don't just live, they lead. Think about it. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. You wouldn't start a business without a business plan. So live a day, one of your most precious, non-renewable resources, without a plan. A planned day is a productive day. A planned day is a purposeful day. And a string of planned, intentional days leads to an extraordinary life. The key is to take just a few minutes, ideally the night before or first thing in the morning, to decide what matters most. What are your top priorities? What must get done today for you to feel successful? What actions are directly tied to your long-term goals? That kind of clarity turns your day from chaotic to focused, from reactive to proactive. And it's in those planned moments that real progress happens. People often confuse being busy with being productive, but they are not the same. Busyness is often just movement without direction. It feels like you're doing a lot, but you're not actually getting anywhere. When you plan your day in advance, you're not just filling time, you're allocating your energy to what truly matters. You begin to say no to distractions, to low-value tasks, and to the urgent but unimportant demands that crowd out your goal. One of the best techniques for daily planning is to start with just 3 key outcomes. Ask yourself, if I could only accomplish 3 things today, what would they be? This creates a filter. It forces you to prioritize. Once you've identified those top 3 tasks, block out time for them. Put them on your calendar. Protect that time like it's sacred, because it is. That time is your commitment to growth, to progress, to excellence. But planning your day isn't just about tasks. It's about energy. High performers know that managing energy is just as important as managing time. So when you plan, ask yourself, when do I feel my best? When am I most creative? When am I most focused? Align your highest value work with your peak energy hours. Put your deep thinking, strategic work, and creative projects during those times. Leave the routine or reactive work for the hours when your energy naturally dips. Another benefit of planning your day ahead is that it reduces stress. Most stress doesn't come from having too much to do. It comes from not knowing what to do next. It comes from overwhelm, from the feeling that everything is urgent and important. But a written plan, a structured to-do list, a schedule laid out with purpose, these things bring order to the chaos. They help you breathe. They give your mind clarity. And with clarity comes calm. And let's not forget, planning your day builds confidence. When you follow through on what you said you'd do, even in small ways, you begin to trust yourself. That self-trust creates momentum. You start to feel capable. You start to believe that you can handle more, achieve more, become more. That's how confidence is built. Not in big leaps, but in the quiet consistency of showing up for your plan every single day. Now life happens. Disruptions will come. Not every day will go according to plan. But that's not the point. The point is to start with intention. When something throws you off, you recalibrate, you adjust, but you always return to the plan. Because having a plan gives you direction, even when the path is uncertain. It gives you an anchor, even in the middle of the storm. So if you want to 10x your results, stop letting your day just happen. Start taking the reins. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day planning what matters most. Focus on outcomes, not just activities. Align your energy with your priorities. Build momentum with small wins. And above all, make planning your day a non-negotiable habit. Because the truth is, success doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with structure. And when you build your day with intention, you're not just managing time, you're designing a life. If there's one trait that stands out in every high achiever, it's consistency. Talent is important. Intelligence helps. Creativity and ambition have their place. But without consistency, none of those traits amount to anything long-term. Consistency is what turns potential into performance. It's the daily follow-through, the steady grind, the quiet, disciplined repetition of the right actions, done again and again, long after the excitement wears off. And while it may not look glamorous, it's the habit that multiplies your results in ways no other strategy can. Too many people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year, simply by being consistent. They chase intensity instead of consistency. They want instant results, big breakthroughs, and overnight transformation. But real success doesn't work that way. The truth is, small disciplines repeated over time create massive results. Consistency beats brilliance when brilliance is inconsistent. Think of any goal you want to reach, whether it's physical, financial, professional, or personal. The blueprint is the same. Identify the actions that lead to success, and then repeat them every day, every week, no matter what. That's consistency. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. You don't need to hit a home run every time. You just need to keep showing up, taking swings, learning, adjusting, and doing the work. Let's say your goal is to get healthier. You don't need to go on a radical diet or work out for 2 hours a day to see results. You just need to commit to eating better meals consistently. Move your body daily. Drink water, sleep well, track your progress. Those small actions, done day after day, start to compound. You begin to feel better. You gain energy. You start seeing change, not overnight, but over time. And it's the same in every area of life. Now, consistency doesn't mean monotony. It means intentionality. It means you've decided what matters most, and you're willing to do it even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one's watching. That's where character is forged. That's where confidence is. When you keep promises to yourself, when you follow through without needing a cheerleader or a trophy, you strengthen your self-trust. And that self-trust becomes a powerful force that fuels every part of your life. It's important to understand that consistency isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. Every time you act consistently with your values and your goals, you reinforce the identity of the person you're becoming. Want to become a writer? Write even if it's just a paragraph. Want to become a leader? Lead every day. Through your decisions, your attitude, your service, the actions shape the identity, and the identity reinforces the actions. Of course, consistency doesn't mean you won't stumble. You will. We all do. The key is to get back on track quickly. Miss one day? Fine. Miss two? Watch out. The longer you stay off track, the harder it is to return. So build systems that support your consistency. Schedule your habits. Use reminders. Track your streaks. Make it easier to follow through. Set up your environment for success. Surround yourself with people who value discipline, because consistency doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. One more thing. Don't confuse consistency with effortlessness. Sometimes the most consistent people are the ones who struggle the most, but they keep going. They're not immune to doubt, distraction, or fatigue. They just choose discipline over drama. They choose growth over comfort. They choose the long game over short-term gratification. And that choice, made daily, is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. So if you want to 10x your results, don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect day. Start with one thing you can do consistently. One habit, one routine, one commitment. Do it until it becomes part of who you are. Then add another. Build the muscle of discipline, one rep at a time. Because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. At the end of the day, it's not the big flashy moments that define your future. It's the quiet, repeated commitment to doing what matters. When you show up day after day, when you keep moving forward regardless of how you feel, when you stay consistent in the direction of your goals, that's when you become unstoppable. One of the most powerful habits you can ever develop, one that can instantly elevate your results, your mindset, and your entire life, is the discipline of reviewing your progress regularly. It's a simple practice, but it carries immense value. Most people live in motion. They wake up, go through the day, complete tasks, chase goals, and then move on to the next day without ever stopping to reflect. But without review, there is no real growth. Without reflection, progress is accidental. If you want to grow intentionally, you must stop long enough to ask yourself, how am I doing? What's working? What's not? What needs to change? You see, progress isn't just about doing more. It's about doing better. And the only way to do better is to review what you've done. That's where clarity comes from. That's where wisdom is gained. A regular review, whether daily, weekly, or monthly, acts like a compass. It reorients you. It helps you reconnect with your goals, your values, and your vision. It helps you course correct before you drift too far. And it shines a light on the habits, patterns, and behaviors that are either pushing you forward or holding you back. Imagine driving across the country without ever checking your map, your gas gauge, or your direction. That's how most people live. They're moving, but they have no real sense of where they are in relation to where they want to be. Reviewing your progress is how you check in with yourself. It's how you regain control of your journey, and it's how you make sure your actions are aligned with your intention. When you make reviewing a habit, something incredible happens. You begin to see yourself more clearly. You become aware of your strength, your blind spots, your growth areas. You start noticing patterns in your thinking, your decision-making, your emotional response. That self-awareness is powerful. It gives you the insight you need to make better choices, to respond instead of react, to improve, refine, and evolve. The review process doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as asking a few focused questions at the end of each day, or what did I accomplish? What did I learn? What challenged me? What am I proud of? What can I improve? These questions shift your mind from autopilot to awareness. They help you extract the lessons from your experiences so that each day becomes a stepping stone to something great. It's also important to review your goals. Are they still relevant? Are you making real progress or just staying busy? Are your daily habits supporting your long-term vision? Life changes. You change. So reviewing your goals ensures they remain aligned with who you're becoming. It allows you to refine your direction without losing momentum. It gives you permission to adapt, grow, and make better decisions as new opportunities and challenges arise. But progress review isn't just about performance. It's also about celebration. Most people are so focused on what they haven't done that they forget to acknowledge what they have done. A review reminds you of how far you've come, It reconnects you with your wins, your growth, your resilience, and that fuels motivation. It reinforces belief. It reminds you that you're capable, that you're moving, that you're not the same person you were 30, 60, or 90 days ago. The truth is, consistent review leads to consistent improvement. You start catching mistakes before they become habits. You start adjusting your strategy before it's too late. You start noticing what energizes you, what drains you, and what truly matters. That level of awareness is a competitive advantage in every area of life, whether it's business, relationships, health, or personal growth. When you make reviewing your progress a priority, you become your own coach. You take responsibility. You stop blaming circumstances and start focusing on decisions. You stop repeating the same week over and over and start building a life that compounds with purpose and intention. That's where confidence grows. That's where excellence is born, not in the moment of action, but in the reflection that follows it. So take time to pause, reflect, review, even if it's just for 5 minutes at the end of the day, even if it's 1 hour every Sunday evening. Make it a ritual, make it sacred, because in those moments of reflection, you will find the insights, clarity, and adjustments that can save you months, even years of wasted effort. Success doesn't just come from doing more, it comes from doing better, and doing better begins with understanding what's already being done. That understanding is only found through review, and that's why this habit, though often overlooked, has the power to transform every